Good morning, everyone. I'm Warit Ahmed.
And I'm Abdul Majid.
And it is the 17th of February today. It's a Monday. It's the beginning of the week. You know, there's big stuff happening this week. We have Step Dubai that's happening on the 19th and 20th. How are you feeling, Majid? How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Working again. It's been a very busy month. We've talked about it multiple times. There's like 100 million events happening.
Yeah, because Ramadan is happening.
Yeah, right now in ADNEC, there's IDEX also going on, International Defense Exhibition. So there's like 80-something countries which are flying in, and they'll be showcasing all their defense, whatever they can, tanks, airplanes, defense capabilities, radar systems. It's a very big exhibition.
There's also Gulf food happening.
Yeah, Gulf food also started.
Yeah.
But Gulf food is like, it's a very big event. I always am interested in Gulf food, not because it's one of the biggest food, how do you say it? For example, if I need a certain ingredient, you're an exhibitor, they sign deals among them. But the interesting thing for me is when you go there, you see so much stuff that you haven't seen. Like you go to Global Village, you go to the Yemen or these places, you'll see so many spices that you've never seen before. So likewise, Gulf food has so many things. So that's the interesting part for me. Yeah, but Gulf food is happening. There's so much happening. That's the main idea about it, that there's events happening. But we'll be at STEP conference.
Yes.
STEP is a very Dubai-based, a very Dubai-originated event.
It's all about startups.
Yeah,
it's all about startups.
One of the judges of Shark Tank Dubai, Eli Khouri, he's going to be there. So we'll most probably catch him and do an interview for you. We'll be there 2 days. So if you're listening and if you want to catch up and if you want
and if you guys want to meet us,
we'll be there for 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, come. We have a booth. Come join us for tea, coffee, whatever you think.
Do come and join us. And now just to round up all the topics that we're going to be telling you guys about today. Firstly, Sarah Hamouda, the founder of the Dubai Viral Chocolate, so her brand is Fixed Chocolate. She has met His Highness Sheikh Hamdan at the World Government Summit that recently just concluded. Secondly, Syria has received currency shipment from Russia, and it's really interesting to see how this all occurred. And finally, Elon Musk's xAI is looking to lead a $10 billion funding round, and they're looking to lead it through gaining more investments from the Middle East.
Yeah.
So we have a really interesting roundup here. And, just for the first one, I know that we keep circling back to this topic, but honestly, it's so monumental. It's so great. Like, I just keep getting impressed every single day. Sarah Hamouda, she founded Fixed Chocolate in 2021. All right. And the reason why she actually founded it, and this is what she told many news agencies, it's because of pregnancy cravings. So when she was pregnant, she would crave chocolate with pistachio and kunafa, and she would make it. But then she actually turned it into such a successful business. Like even just recently, they launched a new flavor, Catch Me If I Pecan. Yeah, they launched a new flavor there. And the big story here is the fact that she met His Highness Sheikh Hamdan.
Finally.
Finally, exactly. No,
That's the most
you're
interesting
so right.
part. Finally, they've met.
And they even actually had a collaboration together where Sheikh Hamdan actually, really interesting noise up there.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's coming from, but anyways.
Side office.
So basically. We're so sorry, guys. Basically, Sheikh Hamdan, he requested from Hamouda to create a very specific halwa Emirati flavor, and this is not one of the chocolate bars that they sell, by the way. It's very exclusive, and only Sheikh Hamdan has access to it. And by the way, I feel like it's exclusive to the local community, because I remember when I was on TikTok and I was scrolling, there are certain like Emirati girls with aesthetic TikTok accounts, Majid, and they have the chocolate, the Emirati halwa chocolate, the Fixed X Fazza, they have it. And so it's interesting because you can't buy it, but all these people in the local community, they have access to it. So this was definitely a big moment for Hamouda, and let me tell you guys what she had to say.
Recently they were there at, what was the event? Davos.
Yeah.
They were there.
Yeah, they were at Davos
Distributing
and they were
it for free.
for
I wish I
free.
was in Davos to get some of it, a lot of it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
basically, what's it called? This is what Hamouda had to say about everything. Dubai has given us the space to dream. Meeting His Highness Sheikh Hamdan is an incredible honor, one that reaffirms our passion for innovation and bringing something truly special to life. And by the way, can I tell you something about the UAE? When a royal likes something, you know it's good.
Yeah.
You know it's good because they don't support anything. They don't support anything. So when they support a specific brand, you know that there is a certain quality. A certain quality to it,
Attached
and
to
I've seen this in so many brands, Majid. I remember I went to this restaurant. It's amazing. You should go. It's called Kinoya, and it has a Michelin star. And I'm pretty sure there's like a photo of Sheikh Hamdan there, and he loved it too. And then another place like Limited Cafe, the one in Al Khudra, Sheikh Mohammed is always visiting it. And let me tell you a really interesting story, by the way, about that area. So it's there's a bunch of cafes there, by the way. There's Hidden, there's Limited, there are another few, but I forgot their names. And all the lakes there, they're all artificial lakes that were created by Sheikh Mohammed. So
nice.
he is the directive behind the entire project. And I remember when I was speaking to the owner of Limited Cafe, her name is Maryam. She's a really lovely human. I was telling her, I was like, is this seriously Sheikh Mohammed's favorite cafe? And she told me that he literally drives here alone. That's how much he loves it, and he's there all the time. So you know that when a royal loves something, you know that it's so good. And even home bakery, Hind al Mullah, she spoke about how His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, supported her entire business. So that's really beautiful to see there.
Fix Desert got a royal stamp of approval.
Yes.
Yeah, they
yes,
got
it definitely
when
did.
He shared the specialized flavor which was made for him, and now he's finally met him. And he also put up a story. Usually we see Fada posting stories of him going to the gym or with kids.
Yeah.
He also posted this picture and said, founder of Fix Desert, Sarah
And if you know
Moda.
his stories, he doesn't post that much. It's like, it's just a couple of stories of him like running every single day. But
the fact that, to be honest, what I love about the rulers of not only Dubai, Abu Dhabi, etc. as well, but usually Dubai rulers, His Highness, the ruler of Dubai, and obviously His Highness Sheikh Hamdan, all of these guys, they always make sure that if something is gaining traction, they go and try to visit and maybe give it the push that it needs, a royal push, to be honest. And it's good because they just don't want to promote Dubai for investments, for setting up offices, for the ease of doing business.
Dubai viral chocolate.
Yeah. Everyone knows that Dubai is the perfect place right now in the world, or UAE as a whole and Middle East as a whole, to business. But they also want to promote the cultural aspect of it. They just don't want them to be like, okay, this is a country or a city. Come here, invest money, make money. That's it. They don't want to do that. They want to give it a cultural identity. And Dubai has it's a very funny thing that they're famous for Kadak, which is not Dubai's, but Dubai somehow has owned it. So for
they're
chocolate,
famous for a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a bit crazy, and I feel like
they've mixed a lot of cultural things.
I agree
and
with
created
you.
a very specific identity for themselves.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think something a privilege that we have from living in the UAE, it's the fact that whatever kind of person that you are, you can go to a location that accommodates for you. Like, I'll go to specific locations, Majid, and it's all Asians there. Or like I'll go somewhere and it's all Arabs there. Or I'll go somewhere and it's all like Europeans there. It really like depends on taste. This is something that I just remembered. The Budapest hotel that Al Habtour, Khalaf Al Habtour, opened. By the way, you know that the entire menu is like Arabic food.
Nice.
The entire menu in the new Budapest hotel that was just recently opened, it's all Arabic food. And it's like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of, accommodating that I'm talking about. They're not just doing it, in the country, but also outside of the country. So I think for me, for this year, not this year specifically, last year, I think F&B here it's such a big hit. And Majid, people are noticing it, by the way. Even when I was talking to Brookie Bakehouse, so basically Brooke, the founder of Brookie, which is really famous in Australia, you know, the TikToks became like, I mean, not the TikTok. So basically, her day in the lives video on TikTok, they went really famous and people fell in love with her cookies. But I was talking to her, and you know what she said to me? She said that I was actually previously a travel vlogger and that I would travel everywhere. And I came to the Middle East and I came to the UAE, and I noticed that there's this culture of like tea and desserts. They just really love it. They love food. And that's why she's actually bringing Brookie Bakehouse to the UAE. And that's her first expansion outside of Australia. So I think you're right. I think the culture here, it's really interesting. But much more than that, you know, just back to, you know, the Dubai viral chocolate, I don't think it's going to be a trend anymore, Majid. I think she's fully developed a new food group and we all just have to accept it, even if some of us don't like pistachio.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what it really is. You know, moving
And it's
on.
nice to see that she finally met him.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's just that happiness that those two people are finally together, shaking hands, posing together.
And it's
That was one
crazy
of the
because
important things.
they've had so many collaborations.
Yeah.
So the fact that they finally get to meet, I'm really happy for her. Transitioning to our second topic of the day. So Syria's central bank confirmed a shipment of newly arrived Syrian banknotes at Damascus airport all the way from Russia. Now, the money was printed in Russia under the rule of the ousted President Bashar al-Assad, but was never shipped before his downfall in December 2024. Now, a source has told Reuters that the shipment amounted to hundreds of billions of Syrian pounds, equivalent to tens of millions of US dollars. Now, the new Syrian leadership had initially halted further currency printing to curb inflation. Now, when we're taking a look at this, is you know, I really can't tell, Majid. Is it great? Is it great or is it bad news?
See, them getting money is always a good news, but we have to realize that whenever you print new money,
Of course.
inflation rises and your currency comparison to the main currency, which is the US dollar, international US dollar, that inflates, it becomes bigger. The distance between your 1 rupee and their 1 rupee becomes bigger. But it's good sign that at least they got some cash flow. And because I remember when this all thing happened in the first 2-3 days, everyone covered them. And a lot of people were talking about the economy. The main thing that everyone was focusing on, that how are people buying stuff? And I remember Reuters reported this also, that in Damascus itself, only like 2 or 3 ATMs were working, and even they were running out of cash soon. So yeah, the whole story, if you look at it in the chronological order, since the downfall of Bashar al-Assad, Syria is facing a lot of problem in cash flow. They announced, you remember, 400% increase in government employees' salary. Qatar jumped in. That's the good part about Qatar, that they've supported the Syrian cause since the start. Since even when Bashar al-Assad was there, they were supporting the Syrian cause.
So basically, Qatar is going to pay all the government employees.
They were like, we'll bankroll the 400% increase. We'll bankroll a lot of things, like the recovery period. Qatar is like the main hero behind it, the protagonist that we always talk about. They're the main protagonist. And then moving on, I'm just giving you an overview of whatever happened, which led up to this point. Dubai Chamber of Commerce, Damascus Chambers of Commerce, which is the main chamber of commerce in Syria. The head of that again told, it was a interview with Reuters again. Reuters has been very active in Syria. That's the good part. He told him that we're moving away from all the closed economy that they had in the Bashar al-Assad, and they're going for a free market structure. A free market is simple, that we'll do trade with everyone. Now, Syria already has a lot of sanctions on them. That's the problem for Syria. European nations, Germany was the first one that said that they're going to ease some of the sanctions. France then jumped in. They were like, we'll also ease some of them. So some of it means that on medicine and basic food supplies, they'll ease all the restrictions and sanctions. So food can start flowing in, medicines can start flowing in, and at a very good rate, not the sanctioned rate, which is very expensive.
You mentioned a really interesting point about, you know, how difficult it is for people there to obtain money, even as simply as, you know, just take it out of an ATM. And it is actually...
Just to buy bread, basic bread,
It's
eggs,
actually completely true, because I spoke to this business owner. She's Syrian and she's based here. You know, she has She has this translation company. It's called Ta'arib. And she was telling me, she was like, where do you know how difficult it is for me to transfer money to my translators who live all the way in Syria? Because at some point she lived in Syria 3 years ago, and then she immigrated here. And she told me that I'll try and transfer them money, but it's just completely difficult for me to actually get it to them and sometimes it's actually even difficult for them to do the work.
Yeah.
Like, basically news agencies, they come to her and they're like, hey, can you help us translate this? News agencies who can afford to do that, they don't operate the way that we do. I don't know if you guys know this, but basically with like digital media, I don't feel that there is that time to wait on something. It's like every 1 hour, 30 minutes, you're going to get a story out. But anyways, that's beside the point. But she said that, a news agency will ask her, can we have your translator on standby for 24 hours? And she told me, how is it possible for me to explain to them that they live in Syria? It's hard to identify when the electricity is going to be cut, when they're going to have internet. And so I think the issue there, it's really dire. And but I am glad to see that they are progressing in the sense of that. I remember just recently the financial minister for Syria, she was a woman. So I know that they're making advancements.
She's the governor of central bank,
Yeah.
So she was the deputy governor. The funny thing is she's one of the people who survived the Bashar al-Assad regime change. She was the deputy governor, and then when the Shara government took over, the rebels, which were called rebels, and now they're being called the freedom fighters, they took over. They kept him, and this is one of the very good signs, again, as you talked about, that a woman leading one of their main arteries, which will be responsible for the economic recovery. Economic recovery is very important right now. You remember we talked about it.
Yeah.
Syria or any other country which goes through such a turbulent period, they always need to recover economically, and then they can do whatever they want.
And
they can rebuild.
Yeah, and I think especially somewhere like, Syria, Majid, I've spoken a lot to a lot of Syrians, and they told me that how you were affected by Bashar al-Assad's regime actually really depended on where your family was from and where you actually lived from. So if you lived in an area where it was not really that touched by what was going on, you weren't that affected. It all depended on the area that you lived in. It was honestly, I would call it luck. It depended on where you were from. So I feel that in different areas in Syria, different people go through different things. However, in the end of the day, it's really good that they're making progress, that they're looking to develop a free market. Yes, this was something that they announced that, they want to develop a free market, which is absolutely great, by the way. Do you know how many countries it takes a long time for them to realize that, hey, we need a free market here? We can't just be reliant on, Qatar bankrolling our salaries. We need to also find a solution for ourselves where at some point we're self-sustainable. And I think that the fact that Syria, they already have this in mind that, at some point we need to self-finance ourselves and have our own booming market. I think that's something completely great. And, just speaking of Middle Eastern funding in general, Qatar helping Syria, this is not really the first time where all of these Middle Eastern investors have stepped in. They don't just step in for conflicts. They also step in for AI, which we're seeing a lot of people are doing nowadays. So Elon Musk's xAI is actually eyeing a $10 billion funding round, and they're looking to be backed by Middle Eastern investors. So this is all according to Bloomberg News. Existing investors that they actually have include Sequoia Capital, Anderson Horowitz, and Valor Equity Partners. And this funding actually followed xAI's $6 billion round, which previously boosted its evaluation to $50 billion. Now, let me tell you, how do Middle Eastern investors here actually play a role? So Saudi Arabia's Kingdom Holding, which was founded by Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, actually invested $400 million in xAI. and Qatar Investment Authority and Oman Investment Authority, they also hold stakes in this. And Abu Dhabi's MGX actually participated in an early round. And if you know about OpenAI's $400 billion Stargate project, and Abu Dhabi's MGX is actually also participating in that. So and you know, when I'm taking a look at this, Majid, I completely understand why President Trump would come in and say that, you know, we need an American sovereign wealth fund. Because when we're taking a look at this, we're seeing the power of these sovereign wealth funds and how they're a part of such big projects in the world. They're a part of such big change. And, you know, Majid, this is something that makes me so proud because of the fact that, you know, now what we can see is that in the Middle East, you know, young Arab kids, just young people, a part of this region, they can be a part of the AI world, and it's a successful world. Because I remember even, you know, when I was a kid, and you know, someone would be like, you know, you should go after AI, you should go after tech. People would always mention that it's more advanced in the Western world, but you know, we have it all right here. But you know what, the way I think about it is, by the way, these sovereign wealth funds, they are honestly such silent shooters. They really are. You don't know what they're doing unless you actually go after it. So it's going to be interesting to see that. What do you think about it?
Today, Elon Musk is launching Grok 3. So that's the big news. I think in UAE time, it's around evening usually. He has funding from everyone nearly in the Middle East. The interesting thing is that OpenAI also has investment from everyone in the Middle East. So it's kind of, I think it's kind of like a tug of war that is going on between Elon Musk and Sam Altman. We saw in the last week that they were pulling each other's leg. Elon Musk said 100 billion, give me OpenAI. Sam Altman said sorry. Then this was like happening over reports. And then eventually, yesterday, I saw a report by AP that their board has finally disapproved it. So their board is non-profit for now. So their board decides right now if they'll sell OpenAI or not. Sam Altman doesn't, thankfully. So the board rejected the bid. That was 97.8. It's not exactly 100 billion. But Sam Altman said, sorry, I'll buy Twitter for 9.78 billion. So it was a very funny thing going on in Paris AI Summit. Sam Altman was asked by multiple people, what do you think about the offer that Elon Musk made? And he said he's insecure, he's this, he's that. So after all of that fight, what I actually see and what now it's becoming clear, it's the fight for the money. It's not the fight for a better AI. It's the fight for the money that you need to make a better AI. So Elon Musk's xAI, I remember the last time I read the technicalities, it's very simple that he needs to build a lot of data centers. So Grok's processing power and Grok's basic foundation of data that it has can increase. So Grok 3, they've experimented with it at the World Government Summit. On Thursday, when he gave his talk, he was talking to His Excellency Omar Al-Ulama, the Minister of AI. He said that Grok 3, according to him, what he's seen, has outperformed everything that is right now available. That is Perplexity, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Claude by Anthropic. So apparently, whatever we see today in the evening, in UAE time, in US time in the morning, is going to be exceptional. And to be honest, I've used Grok a lot. It's available on X if you are a paid person. And even if you're not, you get some free credits to use it. So Grok, the good thing about it is you don't need to, for example, in ChatGPT, you need to go to Sora for video creation. For image creation, you need DALL-E. Then for text, you have ChatGPT. In Grok, you just have a tab which says, ask anything. So you ask anything. You ask it to make a picture, it'll make a picture. You ask it to write something for you, it'll do it for you. So that way, I think, and it's also incorporated into X. So you don't have to like open a new window. You just go to X, go to the Grok tab on your left, on your desktop, and also on your phone, you can just click Grok and ask anything.
But
so it's incorporated into X.
With ChatGPT, I think they're really lucky because I feel like in life with anything, if you're the first person to start something, it's
First mover
always going to be
advantage is always great.
you're always going to be
Yeah.
successful, because of the bond that me and ChatGPT have. How could I ever replace her? How could I ever move on?
Yeah.
I don't think I can. And I saw how DeepSeek, it rose to the #1 app in the UAE Apple Store, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing Grok, I'm seeing all of these new AI, Replit. We're seeing Replit. So basically, Replit is by this Jordanian entrepreneur in America known as Amjad Masad, and you can literally use Replit to create anything that you want,
Yeah.
not just any software. Quite literally anything that you want, answer anything that you want. And guess what, Majid? I'm not going to be using it. I am so
Everyone
I'm truly
is addicted to ChatGPT. That's the idea.
and I think by the way, if you know what I learned about AI is that, okay, say you're using any form of AI and you're like, because this is the way that I use it, I write something very quickly in the way that I would say it in my format, and then I'll say, fix grammar and fix whatever. At some point, by the way, that the AI itself actually memorizes the way that you talk, the words that you use, even like everything, absolutely everything.
No, ChatGPT has a memory option. So whatever you do, if you give it specific instructions, it'll add it to its memory. And the next time you say something near to that, it'll pull that idea from its memory. You can delete all the memories also. I usually delete them because it starts giving you the same thing in the same format. So every time you have to write a prompt for it that please do this, not the thing that's saved in your memory. So that's a good part about it. They've added tasks to it as well. I think not everyone uses everything that ChatGPT has to offer, but you're right. The first mover advantage, people used to say Google it. Now everyone says ChatGPT.
Exactly, and
so
that's
they've
why
actually changed the lingo. And whenever something comes and changes the language around what purpose it serves, then you realize that thing. You'll never say Grok it. You'll never say, trust me, even after 10 years, you have like the best version of Grok. People will still, to be
even
honest,
by
say
the way,
ChatGPT.
when I hear these names like xAI, it does not ring the same to me as OpenAI does. They definitely have that first mover advantage. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Please follow our newsletter on Smashy TV, and see you tomorrow. Welcome to the Smashy Business Show. I'm Warid Ahmed.
And I'm Abdul Majid.
And today it's February 14th. It's a Friday and it's Valentine's. It's Valentine's holiday. But just for the topics for today, firstly, we're going to further tell you about the appearance that Elon Musk has made at the World Government Summit in Dubai. And of course, knowing Musk, knowing his crazy ideas, he had to come in with a crazy idea, and he basically announced the Dubai Loop, and it's going to be similar to Las Vegas Loop. It's basically a road project. And secondly, we're going to tell you about how the Saudi-U.S. trade partnership is in doubt, and it might not actually occur. And finally, Americana's profits have dropped 38.8%. But with that being said, how are you, Majid? It's
good.
Friday.
Yeah.
I know, Majid, and let me tell you guys, this man here, there is nothing he loves more than his weekend. And he starts talking about it from Monday.
Yeah.
From Monday, he starts
5 days
mentioning
away.
it.
4 days away. 3 days away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but weekend is coming. But yeah, we still have work. There's a lot happening in the region. As we've always talked about, February has so many events that you can't
it's
rest.
Crazy. No, really, you can't. No,
Yeah,
but
maybe we'll rest in Ramadan.
I'm excited. Ramadan is coming up. We actually have an industry event going on right now at Augustus Media, all about Ramadan and driving impact in Ramadan.
And you can watch it live. It's still happening.
Yeah.
It's on Love in Dubai YouTube channel, Augustus Media YouTube channel. So it's live. You can see whatever is happening in the panels and everything.
I was just like telling everyone in the panel, like, last year, guys, the job that I have today, me sitting down with you guys, sitting down with Majid, it's all literally because of Ramadan. I used to go to Taraweeh with my grandmother, Majid, like every once in a while, especially like during Laylatul Qadr, when they tell you like a da'wah mustajaba. Bro, I was with my granny. Me and her, we take that long walk to the masjid. And by the way, Taraweeh is long.
Yeah.
It is so long. And I remember I even had to go home and ask my family, I'm like, guys, how do I focus? Like, how do I stop my thoughts from like going to people and going to events and going to everything happening? But imagine, you know what I'm actually thinking about? Just this morning, I was listening to Fayrouz, the amazing Lebanese singer, and she has this song. It's called Kifak Inta. And do you know what's it called? Do you know what she said in that song? It was so interesting. She went like, شو بدي بالبلاد الله يخلي الأولاد. Basically, what she's saying, Majid, is like, I don't care about countries. God, leave us our children. Leave us the people, leave us the kids. And it was so beautiful to see because she's so right. And that's literally what Smashy Business is all about. It's not about the nations, it's not about the politics, it's about the people. It's about the people who are leading the future. And Elon Musk specifically, he's trying to lead a future in this country, in the UAE. So basically, he showed up to the World Government Summit. As always, like on a Zoom, on a video call, I would honestly kill for the day he makes an appearance. Imagine, I predicted the day that I go to World Government Summit, I'm going to meet Elon Musk there. No, he's going to be there. He will come. I don't care. He will come. He will come because look at what the Middle East is becoming. Are you kidding me? It's not only going to be shameful for him to not show up, but excuse me, doesn't he want the money here too? Of course he's going to show up.
Already has a lot of money from the Middle Eastern region. He has Kingdom Holding investing in xAI. Yesterday we did the video where Sensor Jani was saying that he has invested in SpaceX, xAI, a lot of Elon Musk endeavors. We didn't know that before. We only thought that Kingdom Holding because Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, he's been very open about that I have invested here, I have invested here, I have invested in Elon Musk, xAI. But Hussein Sajwani telling us that they have also invested, they have private equity in those companies. That was interesting. But yeah, he came through a remote connection online. His Excellency, the Minister of AI, the first ever Minister of AI in the world, and that was announced by the UAE, Mr. Al Ulama. He interviewed him. Interesting things, a lot of interesting things for me. We talked about the announcements yesterday as well, but we mainly talked about where he said America should get out of other people's
America
business.
should mind their own business. But more interestingly than that, he basically announced a partnership with Dubai to explore the Dubai Loop. So basically, it's going to be like an underground road network, and it's going to be similar to the Las Vegas Loop. And basically, what the entire project is for, it's to reduce the congestion that is happening in the UAE, that is happening in Dubai specifically. I know that you all feel the pain. I feel the pain, man. Like somewhere that's meant to be 30 minutes away turns into 1 hour away, and it's a tough one there. So I like how it's interesting how Elon Musk specifically is stepping into that one.
Like some part of it.
Because the talk?
The interesting
I didn't listen to all of it. What about you, Majid? I'm sure you did.
I listened to all of it. But the main thing was Musk, the idea of this Dubai Loop. It originated obviously from Dubai, and then they found the Boring Company. Boring Company is Elon Musk's company, which is into infrastructure. A lot of people don't know about it. He did a video with one of the reporters where they've actually built a loop in San Francisco or Las Vegas, if I'm not wrong. And he took that lady through the whole thing. And at that point, when I saw the video like 6-7 months ago, I was like, no, doesn't sound good because you have to build so many tunnels and everything will go underground. Then there's drainage problems, operational problems. If anything happens, an ambulance cannot come here.
It's Musk's problem. Yeah. We can all blame him if it goes wrong.
Yeah, but if you go and you just Google the video of the loop that he's trying to create, he has a very good idea. He explained the science behind it yesterday. And I was like, okay, this makes this actually makes sense. He's like, what is the safest place when there is an earthquake? I was like, in my mind, everyone, under the table. So he was like, yeah, it's under the table, but it's underground. Because the earthquakes and all these natural events, their surface...
won't hit here.
No, I'm just talking about how his thought processes behind the loop idea. Not only Dubai Loop, the other loops that he's building and they're working on. His idea is that all the natural calamities, fires, the tsunamis and everything, they're all surface level events. So he's like, as soon as something hits, for example, heat wave in UAE, let's go towards our natural disaster and the rains last time.
But let me tell you, we're blessed though. Our air-conditioned malls and buses. You know, a few years ago, Majid, I remember spending time in Paris in the summer with my family. Oh my Lord. Majid, the buses had no AC. You know, I saw people jumping into fountains just so they can get like just a break from the heat. So I think in itself, the UAE was already in a great position. I think Elon coming in, by the way, I don't think it adds to the benefit. I just think it's Elon trying to place himself in the story of a great nation that's being built, and it's only going to be better. And the it's already a great nation, and I think that he wants to be a part of this story. And that's Elon, by the way. He always wants to be a part of history. He's mad at Sam Altman because Sam Altman, after he left in 2015, he managed to build something great like ChatGPT. Yeah. And we know Musk now. He feels FOMO. He's like, damn, like Altman did that with ChatGPT and I left.
And he also talked about that in his talk.
And now we're seeing, no way. What did he say?
Yeah, he was asked about the whole controversy that's going around that you offered 97.8 billion. And why are you after like Sam Altman and ChatGPT and OpenAI as a whole? And he said it's very simple. When I started it with Sam Altman, my idea was open source and non-profit. So it'll be for the betterment of people, one, and open source so every developer can get the source code and develop something of their own. He's like, they started with that. ChatGPT obviously started with that. And even right now, if you're a programmer, very basic programmer even, you can create your own ChatGPT version. They're called GPTs. So you can create Writer GPT, Search GPT. You can create a GPT out of ChatGPT's functionality. But his problem with OpenAI is, what he said, is that they are going for a for-profit structure. They're removing the non-profit part. And secondly, they want to make a lot of money out of it, and they're making it closed source. So he said that the ideology that I started with Sam Altman, free for everyone and free to code, he's removing all of that. He just wants to make money out of it. That is why I have a problem with it. And he also said that is why I created xAI, because I thought that this guy is not doing the job that I invested. He said he invested $50 million. The initial money came from Elon Musk, $50 million. So he's like...
He invested $50 million into OpenAI. Wow. And then you have DeepSeek, Chinese DeepSeek, and they only use $6 million to...
No, but to be honest, to be fair with OpenAI, like 2015 he left. They started way like 3 years ago. At that point, computing power was not that great. So you would need more infrastructure, more machines to buy. Now the chips are getting better. So technology advancing means that the cost reduces.
That's a really
Even
good
if you
point,
ask
Majid.
Kirby, our production head, and Ujjwal, these guys know all the machines that we have behind the scenes that help us go live and everything. These machines, like 10 years ago, if you wanted to build this machine, it would cost you a fortune.
Not even just 10 years ago, like 1 year ago, 2 years ago.
No, not...
Technology is changing so much every single year. And when I say 1 year ago, 2 years ago, Majid, I mean like it could be literally the slightest update that will upgrade absolutely everything for you. But anyways.
But recently, I guess Ujjwal can tell us clearly, he built a machine for us, for the production room, and it costed him around 17,000 dirhams. In my time, like at least 20 years ago, 10,000 dirhams, right? He's saying 10,000 dirhams. His point is, so 10,000 dirhams, like 10 years ago, won't even get me a good power source for my PC, right? Right, Ujjwal? Not even a power core, because with heavier machines, you need cooling, you need everything. So it would cost 20, it would be double. So technology, advancing has made things easier for DeepSeek as well. DeepSeek, obviously, Sam Altman thinks that they stole their data and trained DeepSeek over it. So I think, let's see if DeepSeek can match what OpenAI is trying to do.
Let's see. And anyways, for our next topic for today, we're going to tell you about Saudi Arabia and the U.S.'s trade agreement. Basically, Saudi Arabia agreed to commit and invest with the U.S. up to $6 billion over President Donald Trump's 4-year term. But the interesting part of the story here is that former IMF official Tim Callan actually said that this target is very optimistic and unlikely to be achieved. And Majid explained it in a really good way. Can you explain it to them, Majid?
It's very simple. He said if you divide 600 by 4 years, it's $150 billion per year. And there is not enough trade that is already happening with the US. So they'll have to like go above and beyond to reach 150 billion per year. That's the first problem. Secondly, he pointed out a number, 92 billion, which was the number of trade that they did in the last 2 or 3 years. So he said, if you're already doing 92 billion over 2-3 years period, or over the last term of Biden, that means you will have to be like astronomically increasing the investment. So that's the problem that he finds out. He was interviewed by EGBI. We do source a lot of stories from EGBI. They do good. So you should always say good things about your competition if they're doing good. But this is one of the interviews that they did. And what I see is that they're very right. Tim Callan is also very right that it's impossible to achieve those numbers. And this, keep in mind, this is not only oil trade. Oil trade by US recently, like 3 or 4 years ago, this covered so much oil that now they're one of the biggest producers and distributors of oil throughout the world. So even if Saudi wants to sell their oil to the US, they can't, because US already has their own oil now. So they will have to do non-oil goods. And non-oil goods, I don't think Saudi produces enough to sell to US. And plus, with Trump doing tariff things,
yeah, but
it's
not
very
just
difficult.
that. I think not just from Trump's side, but also from Saudi Arabia's side. Just very recently, they announced how they want to reduce their international investments and actually invest more into the country.
Yeah.
And the way that we're seeing that is we're seeing it through the beautiful NEOM project, the 1.5 trillion mega city techno project. I would call it techno, honestly. Just very recently. They invested $5 billion to build an AI data center in that NEOM project. So I think, to be honest with you, the direction that Saudi Arabia is going in it's so beautiful. And honestly, Majid, I feel really bad for the people who don't speak Arabic at this time. Because you know why? Saudi Arabia is becoming the most powerful nation in the world. Yeah. They are becoming the most powerful nation in the world. And they truly do have a lot of money. And we saw it with how when Trump became president, he was like, okay, King Salman, if you want me to make the first foreign visit to Saudi Arabia again, you have to give me $450 billion. So King Salman hops on a call with him and he's like, no, I'll give you $650 billion. But, knowing the kind of, businessman that Trump is, he's always going to ask for more. He's going to top it. And he asked for $1 trillion at the Davos, Switzerland conference. Yeah. So, what this kind of reminds me of? Al-Walid bin Talal, he went on this, Prince Al-Walid bin Talal from Saudi Arabia, the, founder of Kingdom Holding Company, which owns the NBC. He has a crazy empire. He was saying, there is this marriage, يعني في زواج بين ترامب Elon Musk. Yeah. But I think, the way that I think about it, Majid, is that, perhaps there's a marriage between Musk and Donald Trump, as Al-Walid bin Talal said. But if you think about it, there's almost this عائلة. There is this family between Trump and the Middle East. Seriously, he's like it's like if you have one sibling and each one of them is like in a different country. The relationships that Trump has with the Middle East and the reasons why he's making them, it's because of the fact that Saudi, it's becoming so powerful. And by the way, I'm deeping it every single day. And this is something that I discovered, like 70% of Saudis only speak Arabic. And it's like, if you want to break through with these people, you need to know Arabic. So it's going to be really interesting to see, Majid, the shift that's going to happen in the next decade. Because what happened? Everyone wanted to go to Europe, right? And, everyone wanted to go to America. So what did everyone do? We all learned English.
Give IELTS, give TOEFL.
Exactly. And we all learned English. I mean, look at my accent. Look at the way that I sound. But I feel like it's going to be so interesting to see. And this, for me, will be such a truly monumental moment, is when I start seeing people, like white men, white people, learning Arabic, just so they can get ahead in the Middle East, just so they can get into Saudi Arabia. But anyways,
the good part is, to be honest, when you talk about Middle East, the good thing is that there is still countries, apart from Saudi and UAE, which have an Arab-speaking population, and they can always come to Saudi Arabia. So for me, this is the highlight, that all the people from Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, they know Arabic. So now they will have an advantage over Europeans.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they only know English.
And that's what I'm told by everyone all the time, by the way.
I remember Sir Martin Sorrell, he's a British media mogul. He's a giant. He owns the biggest advertising, marketing, PR company in the world.
Yeah.
And their subsidiary also just opened like last year, their office in ADGM. Completely forgot the name. It'll come back to me. But Sir Martin Sorrell was at an event in Saudi, and I put that in the newsletter as well. He has a very interesting quote. He said, learn Chinese, learn Arabic, and learn Spanish, and just go with the flow. You'll make money in the next 5 years. So he also, so it's just the idea of these three languages. Spanish, I don't know why he said Spanish. I don't
Yeah.
have zero
You know,
idea.
some people say
He
that.
just added it, I guess.
No, there are some people that say that if you know Arabic, it's going to be really easy for you to learn Spanish. And they say that certain words, like they
Yeah.
have Arabic in them. But you know, like Majid, like more so than that, I think what's going to be really beautiful to see is the Arabization that's going to occur of everyone trying to accommodate for us instead of us, the Arabs,
Yeah.
constantly, you know, accommodating for the white world, constantly accommodating for them. But anyways, for our last topic of the day, so Americana, which is chaired by one of my favorite, you know, real estate billionaires in the UAE, Mohammed Al-Abbad, has reported $2.2 billion in revenue in 2024. And, you know, they're eyeing more. However, there was a 9% decline from 2023. And I think what we can attribute that to is obviously the boycotts, you know.
Yeah.
The boycotts haven't really been great. But you know what's really interesting? We discussed this story before. How, in fact, although there are like heavy boycotts on McDonald's, McDonald's is doing better in the Middle East than it's doing in other branches. And it's just that to me, by the way, you know, just putting the boycotts aside for 1 second, you know, they are very important. It's for me, what I hear in this story is not McDonald's. What I'm hearing is that the Middle East is doing well.
And yes, the buying power, that's the main thing. Whenever you see a consumer product or a product at the core of it, which can be used every day or like at least every week, you need to see people who have the buying power. And those are the target audiences. These people have the buying power, like Middle Eastern people. You and I, a normal person can even have McDonald's. It's not that expensive. And also McDonald's, very smartly, they came up with value meals. So their numbers were very down. They saw like I remember, if I remember correctly, the last 2 quarters of last year, Q3 and Q4, the combined loss was 1.5% across the globe, including Middle East, US, everything. But the interesting part was that they came up with value meals, $5 deals, $10 deals. So the same thing that you bought for $20, $25, they brought it down to $10. So that means they cut their profit, but they wanted to do more sales. Again, boycotts affected them. It's very true. A lot of Muslim countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, you can name them like 4 or 5 of them.
And by the way,
they have completely boycotted
the
it.
effect is there. You know why? Like, for example, I used to go to McDonald's so much. Even though, like, I do go to McDonald's now, Majid, not as frequently as I used to. Because of the fact there was a time where I just completely boycotted. I kind of got into the habit of does not come up as an option. It just comes up as a desperate option of if it's the only thing right in front of me. Because McDonald's, I'm sorry, like every single gas station, even if you're like in Al Qudra, the desert is there.
There's a McDonald's.
Guess what? You see that yellow logo staring right back at you, inviting you to come eat.
No, what I saw was, I don't know where I read it. It just popped up in my mind when you talked about not choosing it as an option. I read somewhere that people started boycotting them by going to food courts so they can have more options. So they tried avoiding the single branches that we see of McDonald's on different roads. They tried going to food courts, and then obviously they had multiple options. So they were like, okay, not McDonald's, but we have 6 other options. So that's good. That's the good part about people also changing their habits. So staying away from not consuming the boycotted products. But yeah, Americana, the good thing is they recently also went to Oman. Remember, we talked about it here. They bought the whole Pizza Hut chain from Oman. There was a company in Oman which had the rights. So now in Oman, Pizza Hut is under Americana Restaurants, again, under Al-Abbar. And I think that also puts a lot of pressure on their earnings because they spent money on the overtake. So, but they're on the road to recovery. So
they definitely are. But I think Americana, it's unlucky in the sense of they own KFC, Pizza Hut, Hardee's, Krispy Kreme,
a lot of them.
Fridays, Costa, Wimpy. Baskin Robbins. I think, over here when I'm taking a look at this list, I don't think KFC is affected. Are you kidding me? Everyone loves KFC. They're obsessed.
Yeah.
But I think the ones that probably caused that revenue drop, I would assume, are like Pete's Coffee, Fridays. Are you
Yeah.
noticing, Majid? Every single time you see a Fridays shop, bro, it's not filled anymore.
Yeah.
People don't go to Fridays that much anymore.
It's expensive. Well, that's what I have realized.
And the
with
food is not that
Fridays.
good, by the way.
Yeah, it's average
just-
food.
it's
It's
all
not
right.
like great. They have a good menu. I've
Yeah.
been there twice, I guess, twice or thrice. But the problem is TGI Fridays has a very short menu. They're very specialty menu, but everything is so expensive.
You know what it is?
McDonald's, you have so many
It's
choices.
this point of Americanization.
Yeah.
If you go to McDonald's, you'll notice how they've done,
They've localized the
slightly-
product.
They've adjusted the menu
Yeah.
so that, it can attract more people. And the reason why I specifically mention Arabization is because last night, Majid, the meeting that I went for, it was at this place. It was like a golf club. All right. And I walk in, and let me tell you, I've been living in this country my entire life. I have never seen that many white people in one location. I was so shocked. I was like, what's going on here? Like, is this like your hangout spot? And it was like 6 p.m. I was like, you guys are telling me that you all left work and you came to this spot. And I see them all eating and enjoying the food, by the way. And so I open the menu and I'm like, okay, this food must taste good. I ordered a Caesar salad, a safe bet, because my friend was telling me that their food was not that good. Majid, you know what they did? They fried the croutons in what they used to fry the fish.
Oh, so it smelled.
Not smelled. It tasted like fish.
Oh.
And I was looking around all these people and like, you guys are really eating this food right now. And by the way, their entire menu, you know what they could have done to localize it, to Arabize it? Could have added hummus. You could have added tabbouleh.
There's so many options, right?
No, but Majid, it was all like American English food. None of it was. And by the way, like for example, I remember when I went to the Ovaltine. Basically, it's like this new concept shop opened by Al Safadi. It was recently opened. If you open their menu, yes, mainly they're serving menaish, they're serving msakhan, fatayr. However, if you go to the wraps, although they're like oven baking the wraps, by the way, like the same way you bake a menaish, there's a Philly cheesesteak there. Do you see what I mean? And I think that's what's so beautiful about the Arab world. Although there has not always been a space created for us, we have always created a space for other people. And I think that's the welcoming culture that we all represent and that we all have, that's so beautiful. And Majid, I'm so glad that you finally get to live here and that you get to experience it. And by the way, like I
don't like Arabic food. I won't lie about it.
What? Are you being
don't
serious?
like Arabic food. It's too bland for me. I come from a region where spice is more important than the food. We don't mind if it's chicken, vegetables, lentils, whatever it is. For us, spice is the most important part for any dish. So here, the spices are,
by the way,
according to my palate, they're bland, but it's tasty food. Mixed grills, great. I love them.
The fact that you're saying this, it's so interesting because I remember I went to this restaurant. It was in Wasl 51. I'm not sure if they moved their branch. It was called Lana Lusa. And Lana Lusa was Portuguese. And something that they do with their food is that, like, for example, if they give you shrimp, they literally just drizzle it in olive oil and they put a bit of it. The fact their food is good and people say their food is good, but because of the fact that they don't have to add that much seasoning for it to taste good. So it's just so interesting to see the different perspectives. But I was telling Majid this. I went to Gazebo. And oh my God, their butter chicken, their what's it called? Their meat mutton.
It tasted sweet to me. It was good for you, but it tasted sweet to me. So imagine the level of spice that we guys are used to.
I think it's like the difference between people because I once had butter chicken and it was from this Malayali place.
Yeah.
And
it would be different than Gazebo, right?
Yeah. Their butter chicken was too sweet to the point I couldn't even eat it. I didn't want to eat it. But I always tell Majid this. My favorite paratha is from Karachi Darbar. So good. And Karachi Darbar is actually a Pakistani spot. And I'm sorry, but I think you guys make it the best, Majid. Like, I give you that award. But, thank you so much, guys. This was a lovely Friday conversation, Majid. It was an entertaining one. This is Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Have a lovely, lovely weekend.